Hi there, welcome to my views and news. Three news stories. Firstly, a formal apology from Ethiopian PM. What happened? Why did he apologize? Secondly, Eritrean government has issued a statement around more than 24 hours ago. This statement was issued. Eritrean government is claiming that Eritrean foreign policy about the region has been that of a neutral country, and time has proven the quality of leadership of Eritrea, that what Eritrea said years ago is now being proven. I want to say a few words about what the Eritrean government is claiming. Thirdly, Somalia's president spoke at a non-aligned movement session in Kampala, Uganda. PM Abiy spoke there too. PM Abiy did not accuse Hassan Sheikh directly, but Hassan Sheikh did not pull any punches. We have a clip of Somalia's president. He directly accused Ethiopian government. He named Ethiopian PM as well. Firstly, viewers, a formal apology from Ethiopian government, from Ethiopian Prime Minister on behalf of the government. A few weeks ago, African Development Bank officials in Ethiopia came under an attack. Ahmed Shide, Ethiopian finance minister's gunman, assaulted African Development Bank officials. African Development Bank lodged a formal complaint with Ethiopian government. According to unconfirmed reports, the two had a dispute over uh, an amount of 5 million US dollars, which went missing. Ethiopia paid this amount to African Development Bank. Later, it disappeared, and some say Ethiopia did not pay. Whatever the bone of contention was, the African Development Bank officials were assaulted. They were beaten. African Development Bank asked the government, Ethiopian government, to conduct an inquiry. Ethiopian government did not respond positively or in a speedy manner. That is why a few weeks ago, African Development Bank announced to wrap up, to withdraw from Ethiopia. African Development Bank is working on around 22 projects in Ethiopia worth 1.2 billion US dollars. Obviously, a bad news for Ethiopia it was, because Ethiopia is in dire need of foreign direct investment. Later, African Development Bank President Akinwumi Adesina traveled to Addis Ababa. He met with Ethiopian PM Abiy. And in the meeting between African Development Bank and Ethiopian PM Abiy, the matter was resolved. And according to African Development Bank, Ethiopian PM has apologized to African Development Bank on behalf of Ethiopian government. A formal apology has been submitted to African Development Bank from Ethiopian PM. That is why African Development Bank has announced to resume its operations in Ethiopia. The matter should not have reached this level, I think. Ethiopia had to apologize. I think RPMRB, Ethiopian government, should have handled this issue when it happened. But back then, the government maybe was slow in responding. African Development Bank threatened, and now Ethiopian government is apologizing. Secondly, viewers, Eritrean government has made some claims about the quality of leadership of Eritrea. That what Eritrean leaders have been saying is now happening. They say that the Eritrean government says that Eritrea always remained neutral in the conflict in the region. And it asked the countries in the region they should not rely on Western support. It supported regional economic integration. It opposed Western influence in the Horn of Africa. Some countries listened, others did not listen. And rather, a campaign was launched against Eritrean government to isolate Eritrea diplomatically. Those which wanted to isolate Eritrea failed, and now Eritrea is the center of diplomatic engagements. Eritrea is emerging as an anchor of diplomatic efforts to find peace and stability. That is why a way forward for peace, prosperity, and stability in this region is that countries should respect each other. They should work towards economic integration. They shouldn't they shouldn't back foreign intervention in this region. That is the way forward. And Eritrean leadership has proven that what it predicted years ago is now happening, and that is why that shows the quality of Eritrean leadership. Eritrean leadership is insightful. Now, Eritrean government is claiming that it is neutral. It does not intervene in other countries, and that is why it is reaping the benefits of being a neutral country, and it is stable. Is Eritrea really neutral? Was Eritrea neutral in the war in Tigray, in Ethiopia? Is Eritrea neutral in Sudan? Isn't it involved there in support of one party? Did Eritrea remain neutral in Somalia's conflict in 2006, 2007? Did Eritrea remain neutral in the conflict in Sudan, which led to the splitting of the country? What I have learned is that Eritrea, in most cases, took sides. Now, Eritrea taking sides. It supported Ethiopian government to crush TPLF. It is supporting Sudan military against rapid support forces. How can Eritrea say that it remained neutral? Yes, Eritrea suffered. Eritrea was isolated. Yes, we know that. That sanctions were imposed on Eritrea. No one can deny that. The West tried to isolate Eritrea. And no one can deny the regional diplomatic clout of Eritrea. Eritrea training Somalia's forces. Burhan looking towards Eritrea. Abiy got Eritrean support to survive. Definitely. Eritrea is a major player in the Horn of Africa. But to say that it's a major player because it remained neutral is not correct. Eritrean president, I think, knows the regional politics in and out. And he took maybe right decisions at right time. That is why his horses won in most cases, and he is surviving. Lastly, viewers, Hassan Sheikh, Somalia's president, lashed out at Ethiopian government in Kampala, Uganda, where non-aligned movement is meeting. 19th session of this movement is ongoing. Non-aligned movement, and members are countries like Azerbaijan, which fought a war against Armenia, Eritrea, which is in support of a new world order, and some other players too, who is non-aligned, by the way. In this movement, no one. Ethiopian PM spoke a few hours ago, and he talked about the plight of landlocked countries. He said landlocked countries who don't have access to sea are facing challenges. They are finding it difficult to meet the needs of the people. So that is why Ethiopia wants to gain access to sea, but through negotiation, through dialogue, through peaceful means. Somalia's President Hassan Sheikh then leveled serious allegations against Ethiopian government, saying that Ethiopia wants to annex Somalia's territories and it's a violation of international law. And he asked non-aligned movement members to stand behind Somalia. I have a clip for you of Hassan Sheikh. Take a listen to what he said. He did not pull any punches against Ethiopian government, Ethiopian government. He named the Prime Minister of Ethiopia. Watch the video. Thank you for watching.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, Somalia as a member of this esteemed movement has always championed the principles of sovereignty, territorial integrity, and non-interference as enshrined in the Non-Aligned Movement Charter. The recent egregious actions of Ethiopia present a grave threat to the Non-Aligned Movement principles and to the peace and stability in our region, the Horn of Africa. On January 1st, 2024, a memorandum of understanding was signed by Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed of Ethiopia and one of the regional leaders in Somalia. This MOU grants Ethiopia to annex a corridor to establish a naval base in our coastline, a clear violation of Somalia's sovereignty and a breach of international laws and norms. I repeat, Somalia's readiness towards mutually beneficial commercial and trade agreements along international norms, regional and international mechanisms such as the Horn of Africa Initiative and IGAD Red Sea Strategy. This offers opportunities for genuine and civilized partnerships such as the one that exists between the landlocked Republic of Uganda and the Republic of Kenya. However, the unilateral annexation of another country's territory, whether by me as the President of Somalia or a regional leader like Musa Bihi, is unconstitutional, illegal, and unacceptable universally. Excellencies, potential consequences of this MOU are alarming. Not only does it threaten Somalia's sovereignty, but it also risks exacerbating regional instability and the war against terrorism. We cannot allow the hard-fought gains against terror groups like Al-Shabaab to be undone by such reckless actions. It undermines the efforts and the progress Somalia has made in recent years, including a significant strides in governance, economic development, and security. As a founding member of the Non-Aligned Movement, Somalia has historically contributed to and benefited from this platform's collective wisdom and support. We now look to this movement, a pillar of peace and cooperation, to stand with us, Somalia, in rejecting these violations of international law by the government of Ethiopia.